It's a relationship that's evolved dramatically over the past 5 decades. Today, bilateral trade between China and the European Union stands at over $750 billion. According to 2023 figures, roughly 20% of the EU's imported goods came from China. That's more than anywhere else. Experts say the focus on broader trade has shifted to the tech sector and the green economy.
Both China and the EU, they set very ambitious goals with regard to the emission peak and the climate neutrality, and we have clear roadmap when the two sides will achieve that. So very clear roadmap, and now it's about implementation.
But there are bumps in the road. Last year, the EU imposed additional tariffs of up to 35% on Chinese-made electric vehicles. The bloc says Chinese subsidies have created an unfair playing field. Beijing rejects this and says the EU's protectionist policies are harming its green transition. The European Union describes China as both a partner for cooperation and a systemic rival. While seeking to de-risk the bloc's economy, Commission President Ursula von der Leyen says the EU should seize the opportunity to engage with China. The EU says it's seeking to expand mutually beneficial trade and investment ties. But the trade deficit amounts to over $300 billion in China's favour. And officials say addressing asymmetries in the relationship remains a priority.
We have made very clear where we see the potential in the EU-China relationship, but we've also been very clear about where we see the challenges and where we would need to see some movement from China on, for example, market access issues, the business environment in China, and so on.
Some analysts say rising trade tensions with the US have heightened the need for fresh approaches.
Europe cannot go it alone. And that's the reality of it. This sense of pulling up the drawbridge and we'll produce everything in the EU is simply naive, and it's politics. It's a faux term to provide some sort of safety.
The EU insists that when mutual interests align, it's open for business. There are hopes that this year's milestone of diplomatic ties between China and the EU can serve as a platform to break down barriers and start to rebuild trust. William Denselow, CGTN, Brussels.